Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Miles Beyond the Page. I'm your host, Michelle Miles, and each week I chat with authors about their journeys, the wins, the struggles, and everything in between. So grab your favorite drink and let's go beyond the page together. Today, I'm excited to host Dawn Char. See, I'm going to mess it up. Char. Say it for me.
Short J.
There we
Short
go.
J.
See, I wrote it down and I
That's
still
okay.
messed it
That's okay.
up. Who's the author of The Fallen Guardian? Hi, Dawn. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Michelle. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. So
Great.
tell us a little bit about yourself and what you write, and then we'll get into talking about your latest release.
Sure. I'm doing Short J. And I live in Louisiana, South Louisiana. And basically, I've been writing since I think it's 2010, whatever the year Hurricane Katrina hit us.
Mm,
Yeah. So that's when I started writing. And I have 10 books, basically, some novellas in there. And I'm a grandma. They call me Gammy though, and I have 4 girls and no pets currently, although I do miss my dogs. But,
yeah.
and I love to travel.
Awesome. Well, I'm so glad you joined me today, and I've known you for a while, so I think we've
Yeah,
been in the RWA circles together.
exactly.
So I want to talk to you about your new book. I guess it's been out for a little while now.
Yeah, it came out in March.
Okay, so The Fallen Guardian, which has phenomenal cover art. I mean, it's so eye-catching.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. And it really makes you stop and go, oh, what is that about? So tell us a little bit about what it is about and what inspired you to write it.
What inspired me to write it? Honestly, my sister. She loves Nalini Singh
Mm-hmm.
so much that trying to go back, let's see. My sister and I, she was an avid reader from the time we were very little, and my parents owned a bookstore. So you can imagine everybody just gobbled up books. Well, my sister always wanted to write, but she just did not. And I couldn't stand going to the bookstore. That's I know that's terrible, but it was kind of like my rival of my family's time because they were always buried in books, and I didn't get that back then.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so anyway, she kept talking about writing these angel books, and I'm like, "Well, why don't you?" And she's like, I don't write. I don't write." She's like, "But you write it, and we'll plot it together." And that's kind of how it came about. Her and I
Nice.
just basically sort of built the world and the
Uh-huh.
characters and the powers and the whole thing, and here we are.
Awesome. So can you give us a brief kind of overview blurb of what the story is?
Sure. So it starts off with this girl who she believes that her father killed her mother and her sister. So at a
Mm.
young, say 15, 16 years old, she runs off and joins this vigilante gang who she thinks they're good. She believes she's doing good, but she's not. It's just all a setup for her to learn how to use her powers that she doesn't know she has.
Mm,
Unfortunately, the angel of death captures her and her group, and he's killing them all off because they're really bad people. And when
mhm.
he comes to her, he just senses she's something different, like the way she acts toward him, things that's happening in the background, like weather changing all of a sudden. He's like, this girl's not regular, something
Mhm.
about her. So basically, he wants to figure out who and what she is, and against his boss's wishes, he takes her, and of course, they fall for each other. And it's basically Shadow Hunters meets The Witcher. That's how I
Nice.
say.
I
Thanks.
love it. So I love that okay, so you're hitting on like all the fun tropes there, right? So hidden
Yeah,
powers and enemies to lovers and all of that. I love that. That's so fun. It's part of a series, right? You
correct.
are working on book 2, The Rising Wing, which also has phenomenal cover art. If you've looked at her
Thank
website, it is
you.
just I mean, these I don't know who your artist is, but kudos to them because wow,
Thank
I mean,
you.
it's just it's gorgeous. So, talk to us a little bit about The Rising Wing. I know you said it's forthcoming.
Mhm.
So, can you tell us a little bit about what that one is about?
Sure, I can't go into too much detail,
Yeah,
but
no spoilers.
yes. So basically, one of the characters in the first book, it takes off with him in a new role, and I hate to give things away. It's hard describing it, but basically, he is sent down to protect the sister of the main character in the first book.
Ah,
And this sister holds more keys to things happening in the world. And then there's a third sister who basically together they can
mhm.
defeat this whole evil thing happening.
O
But
okay.
it's hard to go in it because I would
Yeah.
give out spoilers, but
Yeah, we don't want spoilers. Because we want people to read the book and go,
mhm.
"Wow, that was awesome." So is this a trilogy then?
It's supposed to be 4 books, but
Okay.
this book is kind of pulling the 3rd book into it, so it might be a trilogy. I don't know yet. I am
Yeah.
not a plotter. I'm just whatever's coming out is coming out.
Okay. Well, we're
It's
good, and
could
that's
be
one of my
bad.
questions later on too, is the plotter
Mhm.
pantser debate. But anyway, well, this sounds amazing, and I urge everybody to go check it out. At least go look at that cover art because I know I'm gushing about it, but wow, it's
Thank you.
amazing.
And I'll
Go-
put a plug in for my designer. It's
Yeah.
Para Designs.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
we'll be checking that out. All you authors out there looking for cover art that is eye-catching, go check it out. And I'll link to them too in the show notes.
Okay,
So
thanks.
just let me make a note. Yeah. Can you talk about a little bit about your writing journey? I know you mentioned a little bit about it earlier, but what really inspired you to start writing?
I'm going to say Katrina, really, the
Mm,
hurricane. When we were stuck away from home for like a month,
mhm,
I kept thinking, what am I doing? Like I didn't, I worked in construction with my husband. He was a
mm,
general contractor. And every time I would go to a job site, especially after Katrina, and there was like mold on the walls and things were dark and creepy and so many ideas that just kept on coming to me.
mhm,
And I kept having these what ifs. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to start writing it down. So I would write down my what if questions. And then once we got newspaper coming back every
mm,
day, I found an article about Marie Laveau and her tomb here in New Orleans. And I'm
mhm.
like, hmm, I don't know. Another what if came out and it was like, what if her great granddaughter was here and she inherited Marie Laveau's house?
Mhm.
And then a story took place. Now, I think I wrote a great story, but the writing was terrible. You know how it is, your first
Yeah,
book and
all
your head
right.
hopping and you don't know what the heck you're doing. So I gave it to my sister and she's like, I like the story, I like the characters, but you're all over the place. Anyway, I haven't stopped writing since.
That's amazing. I love that. So you have other books published too, other than right. I
Mhm.
wanted to say Rising Wing. I meant The Fallen Guard. You have other books, right? And
Yes,
yeah,
I
and
have
go
I
ahead.
have a witch series that I just got my rights back to this year, and
Mm,
I am republishing them.
nice.
It's called Built on Magic, and it's basically kind of like I was just describing about going to construction sites
Hmm.
and magic happening in my mind at these construction sites. So it's another group of sisters. I guess I tend to write sister stories, and they own a construction company together. But as they're going to each construction site, crazy things are happening. So
Hmm.
kind of like real life.
Yeah.
But
It's funny. I used to work for a general contractor too, many years ago. So
okay.
I understand that world.
Oh wow. Yeah. Very
So
interesting.
it is. It is. So I guess my next question is, how did you decide on your genre, or did it just kind of pick for you?
Well, when you live in New Orleans in a
Yes.
swamp area, it's kind of a given.
Yeah.
I do have a couple contemporary romances that are short.
Mhm.
And then I did write like a Hallmarkish type romance set on the bayou that Hallmark was actually looking at to publish,
Oh,
and
wow.
then yeah, and then they stopped publishing books.
Ah.
I'm like, I guess I have to make it spicier now and try and get it out there. But yeah, it's just, it's where I live. It's the swamps, it's the
Mm.
moss, it's all this, history and
Yeah.
haunted buildings. It's kind of in you, I guess.
Yeah, I bet it's really magical feeling too in some
Yeah,
ways. Yeah.
yeah. I like writing things that, yes, there's rules, but it's also, you can make
Mhm.
your own rules, so to speak.
Mhm. Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. So, what does a typical writing routine look like for you? And then I was going to ask, are you a plotter or a pantser? And we kind of already know the
Yeah.
answer to that.
Yeah. Right now, I don't really have a routine. Not to get sad or anything, but 3 months ago, my dad passed away,
Mm, mhm.
and he had started going downhill from there, like 3 months before that. So my schedules really got messed up with, taking care of him and things
Yeah.
for him, and I'm just getting back on schedule, so I'm trying to write, and I'm not your typical writer, like, I don't have a publisher right now, so I'm just self-publishing. So I
Mhm.
kind of do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And that's not good for the readers, but I write usually 4 days a week, and I try to do a couple hours a day if
Mhm.
possible. When I'm traveling, it's a little harder. We have a fishing camp we go to, and I'll go there to try to plot, but I end up, staring out at the water and looking at gators and stuff. I'm easily distracted. So I won't lie. There's not a hard schedule for me. I
Mhm.
just, some days, like yesterday, I edited 90 pages.
Mm.
The day before, it was 4 pages,
Mhm.
so it's basically I'm all over the place.
Yeah. Well, I think that the beauty of being an indie published is that you kind of can set your own schedule and all of that.
Right,
So that does
right.
make it a little easier. You don't have those strict deadlines that
Hmm.
publishers have. But so you are had a publisher. Can you talk a little bit about how you made that journey and ended up with a publisher?
Let's see. I'm going to say this was about 10 years ago. I knew Liz
Mm,
Peltier from Entangled,
right?
and her and I basically met at the bar, not our first meeting, but they had a conference in New Orleans, and she's
Hmm.
like, come look me up and let's have a drink. So we did, and we started talking, and she's like, what are you writing? What are you doing now? And I'm like, well, just kind of fiddling with the witch series. And she's like,
Hmm.
well, one of my not agents, one of my editors is here. Why don't you pitch to her your story?
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay. So I signed up and I did the pitch. And the next day, the editor came to me and she's like, okay, I need you to go home tonight. Send me your first chapter, send me the synopsis, send me the synopsis on the second and third book. And I'm like, but I don't know what those second and third books are. Like, it's okay. Just go and do, whatever you can. So, like a mad woman, I went home and I mean, I stayed up probably till about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, fiddling with all of this stuff. And then I bring it to her. I don't hear anything for months. I'm like,
Mm.
I killed myself. And then I ended up going on another retreat
Mhm.
where Liz was there. And she just kind of surprised me saying, yeah, you're my author. And I'm like, what? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, no one told me this. And that's how I got started. It's kind of a
Wow.
weird story, but that's what it was.
That's fun though. What a fun
Yeah,
story.
crazy.
Yeah, I remember when Liz started Entangled years ago. Yeah, and
Hmm.
then she's still going strong.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
it's a pretty cool thing to watch happen.
Mhm, for sure.
So, what do you find helps you stay motivated when things get tough, either the work or just, like you said, life in
Mhm.
general. I mean, we all go through that
Right.
too.
Absolutely. I have a few friends who I sit here and I'll plot with, or we'll say, okay, get your butt in a chair. You do a chapter today. I'll do this today. It's having someone accountable with you.
Yeah.
Like, because this is a lonely job. It really
Yes.
is. So if you have a friend or two that can help motivate you and say, get off your butt, go write, go edit, whatever you got to do, that helps. And
Yeah.
I try to meet with one of my friend writers once a week, and we'll sit there and we'll do writing sprints or editing sprints, or we'll just plot a book together. Like,
Hmm.
she's like, where are you stuck? And vice versa. So that really helps. Definitely
Yeah.
get you
Yeah,
motivated.
it does. Yes. And so you mentioned you're a pantser. I'm familiar with
Mhm.
that. So what do you find works for you when because I know when for me, like I have to have the blurb. I need to know how it starts, how it ends. But
Mhm.
then everything in the middle is just like I'm winging it. Is that kind of how it works for
Right.
you or how does it work?
Absolutely. The first 3 chapters are, like, so easy for me to write, and then you get past that and you're like, "What now? What happens now? Where do we go?" What helps me is Save the Cat, the Blake
Yes.
Snyder sheet,
Mm,
and like I said, I'm not a plotter, but I'll pull that out and I'm like, "Okay, it says I need to do this here.
yeah.
I need to do that there." And then, I sit down and start writing like, "Okay, this has to happen." And then I'll get stuck again, and then I'll go back to Save the Cat. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I forgot that. You need to write that."
Yeah.
Yeah, that helps me a lot. I've tried so many different ways of writing. Like, authors say, do this, do that, try this way, try that way. Nothing sticks for me.
Mhm.
I am trying to write The Rising Wing and Scrivener,
Mm.
which it's hard for me. Like, I was always a word
Me
person.
too.
So I'm trying it, but it's hard. You're
Yeah,
set in your ways. Your brain
right.
works in certain ways. But yeah, Save the Cat usually helps me get past that.
Yeah, I know a lot of writers who use Scrivener. I just never was able to like, there's too much distraction for me. I just wanna look at a
Y
blank page.
Yes,
So,
exactly. Blank
yeah,
page and just whatever comes out, not saying, "Okay, now I gotta create chapter 1. Now I gotta create scene 1, scene 2."
yeah.
It's a lot. And I
Yeah,
know people love it. My best friend who writes, she loves Scrivener. She's like,
yeah.
"But it can do so much." And I'm like, "Well, that's the problem. I don't want it to do so much. I just wanna write."
Right,
So
exactly. Yes, I feel the same way. It's
mhm,
yes. So let's talk a little bit about marketing. As an indie author, that's, well, really as an author, period, that's kind of all on
mhm,
us, right? So what
absolutely.
strategy let me start over. What strategies have you found to be most effective for reaching new readers?
Oh, good question. You tell me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like TikTok. I
Mm,
know that's the new thing.
it
It's
is.
just it's not me. Like, doing this interview is rare. Like, I don't really do interviews or anything. I want to write my story and, do my thing.
Hmm.
With this book, The Fallen Guardian, I decided to do a book launch.
Mm.
And I did a book launch with another friend who had a book coming out in the same month. And we had so much fun. Her friends came, my friends came. We sold a lot of books,
Nice.
ate good food and drinks, and it was really fun. And then she's very, very mellow like me. And she's like, "Yeah, I don't really care about the marketing. I just do little craft shows and festivals, and I'll get a booth." And I'm like, "All right, I'll try that." So this year, first time ever, I did all of these things, and I find that it's refreshing because
Yeah.
people are coming up to you, they're seeing your book, and you're like, "Oh, I love that." And they read it, and then
Yeah.
they buy it, and I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting here, if they ask questions. So that's kind of what I find I'm enjoying right now.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to do so much social media, and I know you
Mm,
got to. I know it's very important.
mhm.
I'll just post on Instagram or TikTok, here's my new book. Here's what it's about, and then every now and then, pimp it, but I'm not
Yeah.
very good at marketing, so I can't say, "This is the best way to do it." I don't
Yeah.
know. I
Yeah.
think whatever fits you, do that.
Well, I find it interesting that you mentioned festivals and craft fairs because you're not the first author that has told me that.
Really?
Yeah, I just find that so fascinating because it's something I would have never thought of
Me
as an
either.
author. So, how did you find festivals and how do you find them
Mhm.
and get into them, I guess is the question.
So, luckily, my friend, she gets into them, and she tells me how to. I am near a town called Jean Lafitte,
Mhm.
and it's on the bayou, and they have a Jean Lafitte seafood festival. So they put out a call for vendors, and so I just signed up, and I mean, it was really cheap. So all you're doing is you're bringing your, say, your banner, your tables, your, however you want to decorate your table and your books,
Mhm.
and a way to accept money, of course.
Yes.
And it's really enjoyable. Like,
Yeah.
you get to sit there and listen to music and meet a lot of people, and there are a lot of locals, so they want to buy your book. And
Mhm.
I really had no idea that was an avenue before. Like when I was
Yeah.
published with Entangled, it was all, them helping with the marketing, and I
Mhm.
would do a signing here and there for conferences.
Mhm.
But this year was
Mhm.
totally different, and I enjoyed it. There was no
Yeah.
pressure, it was like people
Right.
came to you, so I
I
did
really
enjoy that.
like yeah, I bet that's really fun, and I like the way that you kind of think outside of the norm,
Mhm.
because when you're looking for book events or whatever, you always look for the really big events, like the
Right.
ones that, are so popular. But I
Mhm.
think these smaller festivals it must be like you have a better visibility, I guess is the word, you know?
You don't have a lot of competition
Yeah,
either. Like,
exactly.
at when I did Book Lovers this year
Mhm,
as
mhm.
well, I did well, I'm not knocking that, but I mean, you have a room full
Yes.
of people selling a lot of them the same thing as you're selling,
Yeah.
paranormal romance or contemporary romance, and it's hard to compete, you really have to stand out is, I
Mhm.
guess, what you need to do. And if you don't have a huge following, like some bigger authors out there who they're going to have a line of 20, 30 people, and you're next to them, you're kind of like,
Yeah.
hello,
Hi.
hi, I'm over here. Please buy my book.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do enjoy going to them, but it's a lot of competition.
It
And
is.
when you go to a festival, there might be two or three authors and different type of authors. So it's
Yeah.
it's not like, you know, I have a big banner, and it looks like the back of the Witcher guy.
Uh-huh.
And then
Uh-huh.
I have my book on it, and people see that immediately and they know, and they come
Exactly.
over to me and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I like this." I don't know, it's very different for me. This year is
Yeah.
really different, and I'm enjoying it. So,
That's great. I love it. And
yeah,
I think there's something to be said for getting into the community and being able to go face to face with readers. And you
right.
might pick up readers that they didn't even know that they liked your book. So,
Exactly.
or that genre, I mean. So yeah, that's
Mhm.
really cool. I love that. And I love that that's sort of a I hate saying outside the box, but that's what it is. I mean, you're thinking outside
It
of the
is.
norm and trying to come up with different ways and a new angle
Mhm.
and like I said, I think you're like the third person that's told me that.
Mhm.
I got to get on this.
Yes, yes, like, I did 2 Barnes& and Noble signing this year as an
Mhm.
indie, which I never thought was ever possible,
Right.
but all I did is I sent them an email and just said, "Hey, I have this new book out, would you like me to do a signing?" And then it took them like a month or 2 to get back to me, and they're like, "Yeah, hey, we have this opening. Would you like to come and do a
Nice.
signing?" And I was like, "I've never had this as a publisher with I mean, with a publisher. I didn't have this before. Like,
Yeah.
it was never an opportunity." And, I think as indies, you just really need to exert yourself a little bit,
Mhm.
but also, I don't wanna say don't get too far out of your comfort zone because it's gonna show.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
need to be realistic to yourself, and I didn't sell as many books at Barnes& and Noble, and I'm in a bookstore, right? The
Yeah.
people walking in, they know what they're looking for when they're
Mm.
walking in the door. But when
Yeah.
you do these festivals, or even I've been doing a couple of coffee shops on a
Oh.
Saturday morning, and people walk in and they see you and they're interested and they're like, oh,
Mhm.
like I had one girl, she bought for her entire book club. So I sold 10 books right there. And I'm like, this is
Nice.
great.
Yeah. What a great
So
idea.
yeah, it's fun. It's different, than the typical of what you and
Yeah.
I used to do back in the day. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, looking for book events and conferences and whatnot. Yeah, what
exactly.
great advice though. I love it. Building a loyal readership. Do you have any advice for that or how you go about doing that?
No. I mean, I've heard advice basically, build your newsletter.
Yeah.
They say that's really the important one. And I'd lie if I say I had a big newsletter. I don't. Last year, I lost my website. And
Oh,
everything that was connected to my website, which was the newsletter. My Facebook was hacked. I could never get that back or my website.
oh man.
So right before the Fallen Guardian came out, so I
Oh,
had to start from scratch. And
yeah.
it was very, very hard
Yeah.
because, I over the time I had 5,000 followers and now I started from 0.
Ugh,
So
that's
it's like
painful.
it is very painful, but doing the local things, I'm gonna go back to that, doing the local things, I get their name and their
Yeah.
email, and I'm like, "I'm gonna let you know when the next one comes out," and they're happy to sign up for it.
Mhm.
So, I think newsletters are the way to go
Mhm.
because social media can be hacked.
Yes.
Yes, my website was hacked as well, but I don't know. I don't know. What do you think?
I think newsletters are probably it because you own the list. You know who
Mhm.
your readers are. I think a great way to build your newsletter list is to do book funnel, group promos, and
Mhm.
author swaps. Hey, and if you ever want
Yeah.
to do an author swap with me, I write the same
Sure.
genre and hit me up. I'm
Yeah,
happy to do that.
absolutely.
I think my readers would absolutely salivate over the Fallen Guardians.
Oh, I hope so.
So yeah, we definitely need to do
Mm,
that. But yeah, I think newsletters are probably it. I mean, I think the social media helps keep you visible and your name out there
right.
but I don't know that it moves the needle.
Yeah,
I think it's definitely the newsletter route.
yeah,
Yeah, keep it up. It's hard, but if you
it
can
is.
start building like if you have like a loss leader story that you
Mhm.
can just you don't care if you give thousands of copies away,
Mm,
put it up on book funnel and do it as a lead magnet and get people on your newsletter. So that's what I did, and
yeah.
and it's really boosted my list over
Mhm.
the last let's see I did it I put it up in January. Since January I've probably added about 800 folks to my newsletter list.
Oh, wow.
I
That's
definitely think
great.
it works. Now you'll
Mhm.
lose people over time, but it's
Right.
okay because that's just part of it, right?
Yeah. Some
So
come,
yeah,
some go.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Tastes
Yeah.
change and they decide they don't want to hear from you so often, and that's fine too.
Mhm.
But yeah, I definitely think that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting close to wrapping up here, but I have a couple more questions for you. One is, what is one piece of advice you wish you'd known earlier in your writing journey?
Huh. One Piece. Oh, there's so many. I would say, you know, don't always believe one advice. So say if I gave you a piece of advice, don't think that's the only way.
Mhm.
Because so many authors have so many different ways, and they'll come at you saying, "Oh, you got to do it like this. You got to do it like that, or you got to pitch like this, or you got to submit like that."
Mhm.
And yeah, there's rules that the agents and editors have, but also they like different too. If
Mhm.
you send something that's out of the norm, it may catch their eye. I've done things so different, and I mean, I'm not complaining. I I'm not like this best-selling author, but I'm enjoying doing
Yeah.
what I do. And if you don't enjoy it, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't
Yeah.
do it if I didn't.
Exactly. Yeah, I think you really have to love it to do it because
Mhm,
it is
mhm,
such an isolating career. Yeah, I agree with that. And
mhm.
then what is a piece of advice you would offer to someone who says they want to be an aspiring writer or they are an aspiring writer?
But, I mean, sit in a chair and write every day if you can. Not that I
Yes.
do. But, find those moments that you can sit and write,
Mm,
whether it's early in the morning when it's quiet or late at night, or when I was working. I don't work anymore, but when I was working, I would go sit in a theater parking lot, and it was empty, and I would just sit there and just write, longhand in my
mm,
notebook while it was quiet and nobody was
mhm.
bugging me. And, I do that for about 45 minutes every day, except
Nice.
for the weekend. But yeah, I mean, it was just writing my ideas down, or writing the next scene. And, you know, just you need time for yourself to do things like that.
Yeah.
When you're busy and your family's dragging you off here and there, you need to just kind of sometimes say, "Hey, I need my hour or 2 hours, whatever it is."
Mhm.
Block out
Yeah.
that time for yourself. That's
Yeah.
my advice.
I love it. Great advice. And how do you define success as an author?
Success as an author. I don't know, writing a book.
I think that is
I mean,
success.
it is. I mean, people are amazed. "You wrote a book? Like, what?
Y
How do you do that? Where do you come up with the ideas?" That
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah.
So if you wrote a book, that's success
I
to me.
agree. There's
Yeah.
something to be said for those of us who sit down and write a book and can write a book. That is a
Mhm.
success. Yeah, I
Absolutely.
agree. I totally agree. Love it.
Yes.
All right. Well, finally, tell us where we can find you and your work and connect with you online.
Sure. You can connect with me online at Dawn Chartier, Chartier, and I know you're gonna have it all up there,
Yep, I sure will.
on Facebook, Instagram, sometimes TikTok, rarely Threads. And then my website is dawnchartierbooks.com. You can find my books on Amazon, Barnes& and Noble, local bookshops here in New Orleans, they all have them. Pretty much anywhere, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. I'll have buy links too, so people can find your books and find you. So, thank you,
Thank
Dawn,
you.
for joining me today. This was great.
Thank you for having me, Shell. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed chatting with you.
Yeah, same here. All right. So, a big thanks to Dawn Chartray. Did I say it right?
Pretty
All
good.
right. For joining us today and sharing her incredible journey. Be sure to grab a copy of The Fallen Guardian and check out that awesome artwork. And thank you, as always, for hanging out with us. If you liked this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell so you never miss a chat. You can also listen to Miles Beyond the Page on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeart, and pretty much anywhere you can get podcasts. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep writing, and I'll see you miles beyond the page. Thanks for joining me on Miles Beyond the Page. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. If you're an author and want to be a guest, visit milesbeyondthepage.com and fill out the guest intake form to apply. Keep writing, keep dreaming, and I'll see you next time.